Joe, really good to see you. Doncaster have got a forward in charge, and the forward name is a famous name in rugby. For the uninitiated, explain the Ford family tree, because it's heavy on rugby.
My dad was a rugby league player, and me and George followed him everywhere. He decided to go coaching. He started at Oldham, which is our local town where we grew up. He had a decision at the end of that contract to stay in league or go to union. We were pushing for him to go to Bradford Bulls, one of the best clubs in the Super League, and he chose to go to Ireland as defence coach. Looking back, the best decision he made, and me and George were gutted, but then as he got into a few camps, we were lucky to go in, and we met the likes of O'Gara, Humphreys, O'Driscoll, and we were just blown away by it. Wow, unbelievable.
George clearly still playing and still excelling, but you guys made your senior debuts against each other. What was that like?
The LV Cup, George, the youngest player ever to play, I think, at the time professionally, and I was making my debut for Leeds. Brilliant day for the family, and Leeds managed to win, so it was a good one to get one up on him.
Clearly Mike has got his way of coaching. What's yours, and what created your style of coaching?
Obviously my dad's had a big influence. We was brought up until 16, 17 on rugby league, so that's had a massive influence on how we see the game. I think when you look back to when Bath were at the peak and George were there, that with Kyle at 12, that was an all rugby league kind of attack, so that's the way I see the game a little bit, from a rugby league point of view.
When those thoughts are whizzing around your mind and maybe you hit a bit of a roadblock, where do I go? Do you pick up the phone to Dad Mike or to George and ask them a few questions?
No, of course I do. Look, it's always my decision, but I'll always speak to my dad and ask for his opinion, and more often than not, he's right, which is quite annoying.
You now have your own coffee shop.
There's always something me and George talked about. When COVID hit, that's when we opened it actually, so it wasn't great timing. But what it did do is it got us in there, and I do think it was a blessing, because without us being there every day, I don't think it would have ever took off. But because we were able to be in there because we couldn't go and train, we decided to open up just a takeaway hatch. Me and George behind the machine, not having a clue what.
So you can actually make the coffee?
Yeah, well, that's how we learned, yeah. At times, there were some dodgy ones going out. Look, George will be the first one on a day off, he'll be on that machine, because it does take your mind away from rugby, so.
Come on, we can give it a plug, and the name, it's a significant name.
So Kobe Coffee, which is, obviously Kobe's my little boy's name.
Thank you so much for your time. Go well at the weekend. Pleasure talking to you. Cheers. Thanks.